variables and temp tables. So before going to the variables, I want to give an example. Let's say I'm having some scripts. I'm having some script. Okay, what is a script means? I'll go to the emp table, or let's see, select star from 1000 rows. Okay, not this one, or else I'll go with the sum of the customer table or something. Let's see which one will be okay. Yeah, I'm having company amount now. Okay, my scenario is that this is my scenario. Okay, this is my scenario. What is it? I want to take, so I want to take total sales for some company, and what I want, if the total sales is greater than 100, I want to print one message called excellent or good. Okay, then if the amount is less than 100, if the total sales amount is less than or equal to 100, then I will give it as average or not good. Okay, not good. That's the thing I want to do it. So for that purpose, what I am going to do, so first we will do, normally there is a case statements in the SQL server. You can give if conditions. Do you all know if conditions, if and else condition?
No. Yes.
Chandana, do you know?
Oh, I don't.
Okay. I think I'll stop this video and I'll go to that conditions then. Yeah. I'll go and explain you the, okay, I can explain you if condition here only. Yeah, why to worry, I can explain the if condition here. So what if condition does? This is the normal syntax of the if condition. So you will give if and you will give some condition. Okay, if that condition satisfies, then it is a begin and end. You will write a column called begin and end. Then what happens, if that condition is true, inside the begin and end, whatever code you write, that code will execute. Okay, and if else, only else means else begin and end. Here what happens, if that condition is false, if that condition doesn't satisfy, automatically whatever the code you have, that code will execute. In whatever the code you have in the else begin statement, that code will execute. Okay, now if you have multiple statements like if condition 1, okay, begin end. Next, if this condition 1 is false, if condition 1 is true, then you want to, I am writing only begin and end. If the condition 1 is true, then you want to execute this. Else, it is for only two conditions, right? If it is true, it will execute this. If it is false, then it will execute. If you want to have multiple conditions, then you will write else if condition 2. Okay, like that, else if condition 3. At the rate you will use else. If the condition 1 doesn't satisfy, then it will go and check for condition 2, then for condition 3, until if none of the conditions satisfy, then you can write the else. Since you have written else, right, that code will execute. That's it. Okay, anyway I am going to explain about the if condition, so that you will be cool. Now what I will be doing, so this is my company table, right? Select top 1000 rows. I will write an aggregate function here, like select CID amount where, oh sorry, amount will be grouped by sum amount as total amount or T amount Anyway, I don't need this, but oh yeah, I'll write it as total amount, T underscore amount. Then since I use aggregate function, so I need the total sum at the company ID level, then I will group by as CID. Okay, and now at the same point I'll give where condition also, because if I do that, I'll be getting output for multiple companies, right? See, when I do, I'll get output for, oh, we have only one company. Okay, we have only one company, then that's good. Okay, so this is my scenario. I'll copy this one. Since I have only one company, directly I can use sum. Then instead of having multiple things, I can directly use a sum, and I can, because I don't have anything there, right? If I use group by, then I'll get for only that company, but because sum before sum I don't have anything, right? I just want sum to the for the old table, then there is no need for me to give any group by. Okay, this is I am taking some amount. When I execute this, I will get 467 total, done. Now what is my scenario is that if, okay, if the syntax is if condition, what condition I will give in the bracket, I will give that one, select star bat. Okay, Chandana,
Yeah.
in the bracket I will give what condition is that if this is less than 100, then I will write begin, and after that I will write end. Okay, in the begin what I am going to do, I am going to print one message, print, what is the message I want to print, less than 100. Okay, this is a message I want to print. Now if I want to have the same multiple for else condition, so what I will do, yeah, I can type it here, else if I want to have multiple conditions, else if the same thing I will copy, but I will give the condition as different, else if control V is greater than or equal to 100, and control V, I can give multiple conditions like where condition, and greater than or equal to 100. Can you all hear me? Nukala is saying that he can't hear me.
Just
Now,
a second.
now
Oh.
I can hear.
Okay. Okay. So now what I will do, greater than or equal to 100, right, and less than or equal to 200, or less than or equal to 400, less than 400. Okay, then what I want to have some condition, begin, and then I will write as print or select, both are same, but different is that when you use a print, see in the output you got results and messages, right? When you use print, that one will be printed in the message. When you select output will be printed in the results. That is the only difference. Okay, so now I will do account between 200 and 400. Then after that I will give else, whichever the amount is greater than, then I will write begin, end. So now what I will do, I will write print greater than 400, greater than or equal to 400. Okay, this is my scenario. Now if I execute this, what is going to happen? I am going to get greater than or equal to 400. See, because the sum, when I did, the sum is 467, right? So it is taking the scenario. Now let us see, I want to filter this based on the quarter, where at the rate of quarter equal, sorry, where quarter equal to 1, or else, yeah, let us leave at this scenario. Now what it is happening now, the same query executing once, and here the same query executing again, and the same query is executing again, like 3 times I am going and getting data from the database, right? Okay, 3 times I am going and getting some values from the database. See, 3 times I am calculating this query, 3 times I am going to the database, take all the data from the table, sum them and return the output here. 3 times I am doing that. Is there any way that I can store this output in one place and use that place as a reference in all the 3 times, all the 3 places? Can we do that way? Yes, You can do that way by using a variable. So you can store this output in a variable, and instead of writing this query again and again, you can use that one. So like this is the thing. So variable is nothing but if you want to store some value temporarily, you can use that variable. So this is my scenario. I am having a place. I am using one query, same query. I am using other same query. I am using the same query in other 3 times I am using. So 3 times what happening? Let's say the query takes 10 minutes. Let's take the query takes 10 minutes to return the output. So 10 minutes, 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds. So totally you will be wasting 30 seconds, right? So what we will be doing? Whatever the output we get from the query, we will store in one location. Second time, whoever wants the results from that query, instead of running the same query again, just they will take that result output. Whatever the output we got from the first time, it will take that output and use it there. That's it. Here also. So storing that variable, storing that value temporarily, we will call that in the database scenario, we will store that value into the variable. That's it. Okay. How to declare the variable means, I am going to simplify the same thing. I am going to copy the same structure, Control C, and I am going to paste it somewhere in the next window. Now I am going to do Control A and Control V. Now see one by step. Now what I will do? So in order to declare a variable, in order to store a value, temporary value, you need to create a structure. For creating the temporary value structure is nothing but you are going to create a variable. You will call it as a variable type. Everywhere you will be using this variable. So in order to create that temporary space, you can create by using declare. This is a syntax, declare. Always the temporary space is started with at the rate, and the name I will give it as T_amount. That's it. And what type of value do I need to store? It is an integer, right? I can give integer. That's it. Now what I will do? Whatever the output I get from this query, I need to store that value into this variable. How can I do? By using set command. Set at the rate of T_amount equal to, I can copy this query, Control C, and paste them. That's it. Automatically whatever the output you will get, that output will be stored in this variable. Now wherever I want to, I am using that query, right? Okay, I will just use that variable. That's it. So now that query is not being executed multiple times. Why? Because it is only executed once, and that output is stored in a table. Okay, sorry. That output is stored in a variable, and automatically you can use that variable as a reference. So instead of running that query again and again, you can use that variable as a reference. Have you seen this? See how simple it is, right? Now if I execute, then also I will get the same output. See, greater than or equal to 400. So now you are making the system, you are increasing the system performance. See, as I said, instead of taking 30 seconds, I just saved it 20 seconds. I have saved the 20 seconds time, right? Are you able to get my point?
Yes.
Okay, that is the use of the variables. So in a query, if you write multiple queries, or if you want to do anything, and if you want to store some values, then you are going to use a variable. You are going to, if you want to store some temporary values, then you will be using the variable. That is the thing. Now see one more thing. Okay, so you are good with the variable, done. So what I will be doing, I will copy this control. I will copy only this first 2 steps. So this is a done. We are done. Now what I will be using, I will just move this one to our window. Done. Yeah. Control A, delete. Now I will paste this. Now what I will do, instead of sum and amount, I will return ID comma sum amount. So here I need to write group by, right, at the end of the query. Group by ID, done. Okay. Oh sorry, EMP ID, I think EMP underscore ID. Yeah. So now it will be the EMP underscore ID. EMP underscore ID, what is that? I am not sure. Let's see that. Oh, in the company table, what is the column name? C. oh sorry, it is a CID. I think prior to this I think we worked on the EMP table or something, so that's why I thought it's a EMP ID. See, CID. Now what happens when I return this? How many results, how many columns I am getting? 2 columns, right? If I want to store these 2 columns in a single integer data type, if I want to store these 2 columns in a single variable, so this is called a variable. Always you declare a variable with @ symbol. Always you declare a variable with @ symbol. If I don't give @, then it will not, it will show an error. Okay, that is the syntax for the declaration of variable. So here you will not use create, you will just use declare. You are going to give the variable name. Okay, that's the thing. You are going to give the variable name and the data type. That's it. And after, if you want to store some values into the variable, you need to give the set command and this one. This is a one way. Other way is that, see, in the same thing I will show. This is a one way you can give. Other way is that this one, other thing, Control V. In the select only, you can take this one, Control C, and you can give it here. Both are same. Okay. Oh, 1 minute. Yeah, sum amount, right? Okay. Sum amount, T amount, company amount. Select @ of T amount. Select amount equal to sum. Yeah. Yeah, it is as. I think, yeah, here there is no need for you to give any alias, because you are assigning it to the table name, right? Done. So now here also there is no need to give the alias. It's your wish if you want to give, because anyway you are not getting the output, right? You are showing that output directly into table, nothing. So now see, these are the two ways you can assign values to the variable. One is you can give the set and you can give the query directly. Both will work. Other is that in that query itself you can give that name equal to that variable name equal to the sum amount. Automatically it will be stored. See, here the set one I am giving comment. I am commenting it not. Now I will use the second type of assigning. See, when I go, see, now you got the printout display greater than or equal to 400. That's it. Okay. So there are two ways of declaration. Now the same way I can use amount equal to select CID sum amount, but here I am getting 2 columns, right? If I want to store these 2 columns into the amount, what happens? When I do that, it is going to error, because see, select list when the subquery is not introduced with exist. The only one expression can be specified in the select list. Means we are using 2 columns, right? The system is not showing in the correct way. It should say we are getting the error because since the select list has 2 columns, so that it cannot store 2 columns, right? It can store only 1 column, or else instead of let's go with this. I'll just remove the sum and I'll give the amount. I'll just remove the sum and give the amount. When I execute this, see, oh sorry, I have given the group by. I will remove the group by. Now see, if I want to store this output, so if I execute only that query, I am getting multiple columns, right? I want to store multiple records. If I want to store that multiple records into the one variable, because the subquery return more than value, that is the reason it can't store that values. It can't store more than one value, but this value returns more than one value. Then how to store more than one value? So in the SQL server there is a data type called table. Instead of the integer, you can give a data type called table. Data type called this is a table variable. It is an important table variable. So in here we are given integer, right? Previously you can use whatever the data type you want. You can use a varchar, you can use nvarchar, date time, whatever you want you can use. Okay, but in order to store multi values, then multi values you can store in the tables only, right? So I will give the call it as a table. Now I will define the structure of that table at the rate of table, and I will give amount column, amount as integer. That's it, and close it. Done. Now what I will do, since I want to do it right, so the same way I did previously, insert command. That's it. In the function we have seen, right, we have inserted that values into that table name. So insert into of t amount, that's it. You can use it as a same table structure. You can use it as a table structure. Now if I execute, then it will execute. See, now I can do the select star from of t amount. See, one more thing, if I execute now, it will not execute, it will throw an error. You see, there is no variable. So always the declare and select variable should be in the, you should execute all in a single time, that's it. If I execute, see, now it will show all the results, because you are storing that into this variable of table type. You will call this variable as a table variable, and then you are, so it is nothing but you can use same as a table variable. You can call the column name as amount, or you can do aggregate functions on that, sum of amount on this table variable. It is like same table variable. See, now when I do, you will get the output, see, 467. Are you able to get my point? You can use as the same as a table. Done. Once I close, that will be erased from the database. So that's why if I try to select, I will not be getting that name again. Okay? Hello? So this is, I think there are some system global variables, system defined global variables. It is nothing but select identity. It is a system defined variable. When I do, I think when I am explaining about the DDL, DML, right, difference between truncate and delete, there I create an identity. When I use identity, it shows the correct value in my table, right? So it is a system built identity. Currently I don't have any identity here, so it is a global variables. So variables, there are two types, one is a local and global. Global is nothing but the system built variable. There will be mostly it will be the system built variables, so don't worry about this. Worry about the local variable. If you declare @1 it is a local. If it is 2 it is a global, that's it. Okay, most we will be using local only. Okay, this is variable, and the variable type, you if you want to store multi values in the variable, then you need to manually create a table. You need to create the variable as a table. How to create? You will give the variable name, you will give the type as table. Previously we has given integer, right? Data type as integer here, but now you will give the data type as table. If it is table, means you need to manually mention the column names, so I will give the column names. If you have multiple column names, then you can give that column names here. So if I want this way, if I want id comma cid comma amount, cid comma amount, then I can declare here cid as integer comma amount, that's it. Then I will do select star from, both will work. See, now I got cid amount like this. This is the way how you are going to create table variable. Okay, now there is one more thing, the same data output, I can store the same output. This is my scenario. Previously you are storing the data, done. I can store the same output in multiple scenarios. Let's say I got one requirement, I have written a code, I have written some code. What is the code I have written? I have written couple of blocks of code. I have written one block, I have written couple of I have written many lines of code. Okay, so I will run one query at the beginning. So whatever output I get from the query, I want to use that output in different code, different lines. I want to use the same output in many places in the same code. This is a block of code, it has like thousands of lines. Okay, I have written thousands of lines of code in a single window. Then at the beginning of the code, I will execute, I will write one, I want to get some results from a table, and after that I want to use the same results in multiple windows, in multiple locations. I want to use the same results in the multiple locations. So I said we can use a variable, but the results I want to use, it is of a columns, it has a multi-value, it will have columns and rows. Then I can create a variable, and I can create a variable as a table type. Okay, and then I can give the columns, and I can create at the beginning, and then wherever they want the same data, I will just use this variable. I can join to this variable table type. Okay, I can join, I can do anything, whatever I want I can do on the, you can use it as a table, that's it. Okay, that is the one thing. And the other thing, you can do the same thing by using the temp tables. What is the temp tables? Okay, it is temp table will be the same structure of the table. So before this I want to go to the other topic. Let's leave the table variable structure here only. Now I am opening a new window. and I want to show the temp table. I got some EMP data, okay, or else I'll do top 1000 rows. Okay, I got one ID and EMP. Now what I want to store these results into a table. I want to store the results, so that, see, in the variable what is happening, when you are done, when you are executed that scenario, and after that if you want to open that variable, it will not be getting, you can't see that again, it will be destroyed immediately after usage. After executing this, it will automatically destroy, it will be destroyed. Okay, but temp table, see, temp table is nothing but, there are two types of temp tables, one is a local and other is a global. I will going to explain. You will create a same like a table structure, create table, and you will give the table name. I will give the table name as temp, or I will give the table name as TEMP. So for creating a temp table, oh, TEMP, okay, both, okay. I want to give the employee name with a prefix as T, okay. When I give it became the temp, okay. So I will give T underscore EMP, okay. T means it is a temp. So for creating a temp table, you will give a symbol called as symbol, and then after that you can create a same structure of the table. So EMP has ID and name, right? I can give ID as integer, same like a table structure, but you will give the as symbol, that's it. Now I will give a name as a varchar of 20, whatever I want I can give. Done. I have created the table, I have executed, see, I have executed it. Now I can use a temp table here, insert into temp, and I want to insert as, okay, I will do one thing, insert into temp, I will give it is ID and name, right? ID comma name, that's it. See, even though I created, now I can execute this single query separately, then also the temp table will exist. See, I have executed, so the one record will be inserted. Now I can select the temp table, select star from temp, sorry, T underscore EMP, done. Now when I do this, now I will get the output. I can use this as a same like a temp table. Okay, now I will copy this. If I close this, sorry, I will copy, Control A, Control C. If I close this, done, and if I open a new window, and if I try to get the same table, select star from T underscore EMP, right? Then it will not be there. You will get an error saying that there is no table called temp EMP. Okay, means when you open this window and when you create a temp table, it will be only available for that window. That's it. When you close, then that will be destroyed. Are you able to get my point? Hello? Hello everyone. Hello?
Yeah. Hello?
Yeah, please respond, okay? So now this is about the temp. So are you able to get this one?
Yeah.
Manas?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So, and Kondala, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, Vinay? Hello Vinay.
Actually, your voice is cracking in between.
Okay, this is this same with others?
Process
ఓకే ఓకే చెప్పండి నాకేమైనా వచ్చినప్పుడు అట్లా. ఓకే. సో వినయ్ అర్థమైందా మనం మీకు ఇది? హలో, హలో వినయ్ అర్థమైందా మీకు?
నేను పింక్ చేస్తున్నాను వినయ్కి, అతను రెస్పాండ్ కావట్లే. ఐ గెస్ ఆయనకి వినిపించట్లేదు, ఆర్ మేబీ హీస్ అవే ఫ్రమ్ హిస్ కంప్యూటర్.
Okay, no problem. Yeah. So this is for the temp table. So now if I want to use the temp table in other window, I will open a new window, and if I do select star from temp t underscore emp, if I try to use from the other window, then what happens? Yeah, Vinay, yeah, he's okay. So then what happens? Now it will show an error. Even though I didn't close the window, but I can't use this from the other window. That's the thing. I can't use. The same thing, there is a one more table. This is a temp table, local temp table. Okay, you will call it as a local temp table. So what I will do, Control C, and I will comment this one. Or else I will create a same structure with the global temp table. Okay, Control C. The same structure I will call it as a global. So if you want to create a global, so that can be used in multiple windows. So for creating a global, you will give a you will give multiple double pound. That's it, and I will name it as GT, global temp table. That's it. Okay. So this is kind of a global temp table I have created. Now what I am going to do, or else I will do it here. Control C, Control Z, sorry. Already I did for the temp table, right? Done. So I will create somewhere here bottom. So it will be insert into, so it will be double pound GT temp table. Now I will call the temp table name. Select star from double pound GT temp. Okay. So now when I execute this one, I got, now a table will be created GT temp. Now I will copy the same syntax. Now if I paste it here, here also I will get the data for the GT temp. See, when I execute, I will get the data. See, but I will not get the data for the temp, local temp. I will get the data for the global temp, because global temp can be used in multiple windows until and unless this session is alive. If I close this, I am just doing copy, Control A, Control C. If I close this, then done. I can't see anything here. See, both will show, both will throw an error. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So one more thing I would like to say, as I said previously, at the beginning, in the system databases, there are multiple 4 types of databases, right? Master will store details of all the databases objects, model will store, it's a kind of a prototype, MSDB will store all the scheduled jobs and that all things, TempDB will use as a storing temporary space, right? Now see one thing, I will explain the TempDB, and when I click the tables, see there is no table, sorry, when I click the TempDB and when I click on the temporary tables, so these are the system defined, you can see some old tables at the beginning, you can see the tables. Now see what I am doing, where I am creating this temp table, in which database am I creating this temp table, can anyone say? Database here, you can see it here, temp is a database, or you can see at the top here, temp, right?
Yeah.
Now I will execute that one. I have executed the table name, it's underscore slash double, it is a pound temp, right? T underscore emp. Now I will refresh this temp database. See, automatically you got the table name here. Okay? It means that whenever you want to store temporary data, right? By default, the temporary data only for temp tables, it will use the system TempDB database for storing the tables. Okay? What about the variables? Variables also stores temporary data, right? But Variables will not use a temporary database. It uses our system memory like RAM. Okay? It will use a system memory like RAM. That's the thing. Now, now you might get a, okay, instead of using the table variable, we can also use a temp table. If you want to store multiple values, you can use a temp table, right? You can also use a variable of type table. That one also you can use to store the multiple values. But what is the difference between them? When you can use both, then when can use the variables and when can you use the temp tables? So here, this is a variable table, okay, or I will call it as a table variable, and it is a temp table. So here variable table will be fast. If you want to store some temporary data and if you want to join them to anything, variable table will be fast when compared to the temp table, slower than variable table. Okay, this one will be slower than variable table. Table, I can call it as table variable. Okay, table variable will be faster, temp table will be slower when compared to the table variable. That is the one reason. Why the table variable will be faster? Because the table variable will use our system memory to store and to process. System memory means nothing but it is in our database. I will show you what is meant by that. And then once it is done, I will show you system memory. But temp table will use a table time. It will use a temp table, temp database. Okay, temp database. Okay. Now, on the table variable, you can't create indexes, and you can't provide anything like as I said, you can't create indexes, you can't create constraints. You can create a constraints, you can create only primary key and foreign key. I am going to say about this. Only few constraints you can create here, not all the constraints. Okay. So on the table variable, you can create only entity related constraints, entity constraints, not the domain constraints. You cannot create a indexes or you cannot create entity constraints, but in the temp database, on the temp tables, you can create all constraints. You can create it indexes. You can't create indexes here. Okay, you can't create indexes. You can create only entity constraints. Only entity constraints. You can't create indexes. Okay, here you can create all constraints. You can create indexes. And in the table variable, once you create a table variable, you can't alter, you can't add columns to a table variable. Once you create, you are done. But temp table, you can add columns whenever you want in the same session. I am in this window, right? I have created temp table. Here I can alter a temp table. I can add a column. I can add a constraint. Everything I can add. But in this table variable, I can't add them. Are you able to get my point? So if you just want to directly load the data and use them, then you can use the table variable directly. If it is small data, if it is used data, then mostly you can use, since if it is used database means definitely we will create some indexes. I am going to explain about the indexes later on. So because of that, if you want to create index, you can't create index on the variable. So you can create index on the temp table. Because of that, you can make the data processing very fast. Okay, these are the difference between table variable and temp, and it is an interview question. They will ask what is the table variable and what is the temp table and what is the difference between them. Table variable means nothing but it stores the value. Temp table also, it stores the multi values. It stores the table data, like data in columns and rows. Table variable will also store the data in column and rows. But the difference is table variable is faster because table variable uses the system memory. temp table is slow because it uses the temp database, and you can't you can't add columns to the table variable, but you can add columns to the table variable. You can add or delete you can add or drop columns from the temp table, but you cannot add or you cannot drop columns from the table variable, and you cannot create indexes, and you cannot create all constraints on table variable. You can create only entity constraints, that's it. You can't create other constraints on the table variable. So when we go to the next common lesson, then you will know what is the constraints and what is the indexes. Okay, for time being you can buy at it, but in the temp table you can create all constraints, you can create all indexes. That's the difference. Okay, so now I am going to stop this video.